everybody, we got cut off, so sorry. We're outside now and we're across the street from Whaley House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of cold out here.
So Whaley House is not open, sadly. But there it is, and it's really kind of dark. And
look at the moon.
That's the moon.
Looking
like a ghost.
Woo!
Above Whaley House. That's a very cool shot.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
That is really neat. Very neat. And you want me to walk? You want to go this way and then that way?
So we can either, I can walk this way, sideways. We don't have anybody on right now with us. See how it says 0 right there?
Yeah. 0!
That's still a very cool shot.
That's very cool.
Well, nobody's getting advance warning, and it's also late for other time zones.
Yeah.
So.
The moon is very big and very spooky.
I guess we can keep going that way and just get more like across the street. Whaley House used to always make the top 10 most haunted, but not so much anymore. But if you do come visit Whaley House, you'll find there's more activity on the grounds of the house actually than there is inside these days. Let me stop for a second so you can focus. There's the moon. It still looks like a ghost. We can catch that on the way back too if we want to.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people keep going up to the front steps.
So, and this way, we've got the street with all the colorful things from the vendors.
How much are these? Do you take credit
Which is kind of cool. There's Chanel out in front of me.
Hello.
2 blondes tonight. You're in good hands.
2 blondes.
And things are decorated a little bit. Oh yeah, she's making tortillas inside.
That's pretty cool.
And trust me, these are like the traditional kind.
Look, she's got the flour.
And she's kneading the dough there for the tortillas.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh. Her back must be killing her.
Gonna say, she doesn't need to work out in the gym, that's for sure.
She got some strong arms.
Look.
Crap.
Reconnect. Oh, good.
Is this the, this is where I had my
Sorry, we lost you guys for a
I
while.
had a ghost experience here at this place, at the bar.
Oh, well, why don't you tell everybody about your ghost experience?
on?
Yeah.
So I came here with my husband, and this is before anything like this ever happened to me before. And we were sitting at the bar, which I think is on this side over here. And I was wearing jeans, which I never do, but I kept having somebody grab me on my loop, my belt loop, and tugging. And I kept turning around going, I thought there was a little kid or something there. And I thought that was really weird. And I said to my husband, like, somebody keeps grabbing me. We're talking, like we're talking right now. And the bartender says, what happened? He's like, yeah, somebody keeps grabbing my loop and walking past me or something. And every time I turn around, there's nobody there. He's like, no, that's the ghost. So that happened there, right there at the bar. So, and I've heard from several people that this place is haunted.
Oops. There we go.
spooky encounter.
Sure.
Oh, there's a person named Schaefer.
That's Elijah.
Elijah. Is that Schaefer or
Schaefer? Schaefer. I think so.
Schaefer! You know what Schaefer means? It means sheep herder.
And Chanel and I had a similar experience at the Cosmopolitan where we got touched. And I was actually talking with Chanel.
You got touched.
In the sala, and she watched while my hair got pulled.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting.
And that was when I was telling you about what happened to me the night before when I was sitting in the dining room, and then you said, somebody's here.
Yes.
That was crazy. Yeah. Oh.
So we have more tortilla making. Hi. This is kind of where the action is. We now have, thanks to COVID, we have outdoor dining, and it's all Mexican food. Margaritas, chips, salsa. Say hi. Hi. Happy Halloween. Lots of puppies and lots of kids out.
Where's that? Is it up there?
Mm-hmm.
Go this way?
Yeah, that's where you want to go. I guess we're heading to El Campo Santo Cemetery. Woo. Yeah, it's really a fun night, Elijah. Everybody's very enthusiastic because we don't get out much in California anymore.
Where's Elijah?
Elijah is in Ohio.
Ohio, my neck of the woods. Jeez, it's like
he's in Toledo, Ohio.
Jeez, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning there. I'm just kidding. It's like what, midnight?
I noticed when I was driving down here, there were some very cool lights on the trees here, and it's like, oh, I got to get a shot of this. So we're getting into this right now. And lots of outdoor dining. Yeah, Elijah said it's almost midnight.
Yeah.
And we should tell you before I forget that before, when we were, right before we went live, the first thing when I first walked in, a person that I actually know, used to work at Whaley House, played a Michael Jackson song, and the song he played was Billie Jean, which was very interesting. And we've also heard Thriller, which you would expect to hear on Halloween. But Billie Jean kind of took me by surprise. So I have a feeling that Michael's enjoying the little excursion with us as well. And I love this blue lit up tree.
Very Dr. Seuss.
Check that out. Yeah, it's interesting, Elijah, how songs just show up out of nowhere. Hi, Juanita.
Somebody was asking me where you were today, and I'm like, I don't know. I had 2 friends come and have dinner here, so I was like, I think it's down there somewhere.
Yeah, I think Michael's liking my little excursion on the blue moon.
Should we go this way?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
I want to walking in the middle of the street. Want to make sure I don't get run over.
Jaywalking. Oh, there's a lot of people in the cemetery.
Yeah, so we're going into El Campo Santos Cemetery, and there's an awful lot of people here this evening.
You don't know who's like buried in all these different places. I think there's like a.
Well, Tanner from the Tanner Troupe is here. Yankee Jim probably not. They have a prop thing there for the tourists. But they cleaned out a bunch of the cemetery in 1874 because it used to go all the way down to Old Town Avenue. So it's much smaller than what it was before.
Oh, this must be a ghost.
Oh, that could be.
There's competition.
Can we get a free tour?
Sure.
He must be, because he's got the light.
Yeah.
Follow me, follow me,
So, yeah, it looks like you're gonna get a free little ghostly tour here.
All right, let's back up a little bit here. May I proudly welcome you all to the Campo Santos Cemetery. That loosely translates to the camp of the saints in the Holy Field. There are approximately 350 deceased individuals right here. Some of them stacked on top of each other. As you can see, there's about 350 gravesite markers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to introduce you to a couple of my friends. One of them buried here, James W. Robinson, affectionately known as Yankee Jim, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, Yankee Jim, buried here, was the most notorious and successful boat thief of the 1840s. And he was the very, very best at his craft, folks. Ladies and gentlemen,
Okay, I'm done.
shall we say
Okay.
he was a bit of
So we're going to excuse ourselves from the traditional tour and tell you what we really know about Yankee Jim Robinson. My encounter with Yankee Jim Robinson was actually at Whaley House, and we had asked to see him or to communicate with him. And I'm trying to get this to switch over. Sorry, there you go. Oh, that's not a good look.
Hold it up a little bit higher. So. Yeah. There you go.
Anyway, we had asked Yankee Jim if he would communicate with us and let us know what was going on, because obviously he was indeed hanging out at Whaley House. And what he said is that he was a victim of misidentification because he had on a red shirt. And we were able to prove that historically, that the person that they captured did indeed have a red shirt. Now, Yankee Jim, all he had done was to joyride a rowboat going out to a schooner. The owner of the schooner shot at him, so he rowed back to shore and booked it out of town. But what he didn't know is that there was a horse thief, also with a red shirt. And if you stole a man's horse back in those days, you got the death penalty.
You know those horse thieves.
Well, San Diego was in martial law at that time, and so justice was very swift. So you had 24 hours that they put you in the jail, and the jail was actually located here in El Campo Santos Cemetery. So they put you in the jail, and you, because it's a Catholic cemetery, if you weren't already Catholic, they had to baptize you before they killed you, which is very interesting thing about the culture.
Yay!
That, you got to be a good Christian before we kill you. So it
They didn't want to be accused of anything, like just killing somebody who wasn't a Christian.
Right.
That's
So
probably it.
I was able to locate Yankee Jim Robinson's death certificate, and he was buried in lot 30. Now that should be a very simple thing to look around here and look for lot 30, because there are indeed lot markers here. Unfortunately, the good citizens who volunteer to clean up El Campo Santos Cemetery don't necessarily pay much attention to the markings. And so we don't know if he's still here or not, but what he told us was that he thought it was ironic because he actually was buried directly across from where the marker is for the tourists present day. So as I was telling Chanel, the cemetery went all the way to Old Town Avenue. And you may have seen on other shows, or even I may have shown it to you, there's little circle out in the
markers in the
street,
street, yeah.
and they say gravesite on them. That was from 1993. They actually got a little bit of funding to do ground penetrating radar, and they found these burial plots underneath San Diego Avenue. They just paved over. But they ran out of funding. So those are not necessarily the only ones. They just ran out of
Right.
money and quit looking.
That's
Yeah,
still a thing,
you be-
jaywalking.
Oh, when I was
So
going across the
identity
street.
theft?
Yeah. Yes, jaywalking is still a thing, especially if you don't want to get run over by a car.
I'm
'cause you're
old
not paying
school. I call it
attention.
jaywalking.
Yeah, it's still a thing.
Yeah, I would think so.
Everything's illegal in California. We had a
Yeah, we're
conversation about
California.
that.
Hello.
Yeah. Everything has a tax and everything's illegal.
Exactly. Yeah.
So for the most part, I know people like to come to the graveyard because they think they're going to pick up spooky activity and stuff like that. But usually they're very quiet.
He's wearing a red shirt.
Uh-oh. Yeah, see, you can't be caught wearing a red shirt.
How weird.
It's really funny. You know,
Yeah.
you just happen to be wearing something distinctive.
We like red.
But there's also the Yankee Jim Robinson was indeed hanging out at Whaley House, and so I set my sights on, okay, why are you here? Because we know that he was hung here in the cemetery. That's what he told us, and 2 people just a few months ahead of him were hung here in the cemetery. If you qualified for firing squad, they'd make you dig the hole, and they would shoot you, and you would fall in the hole, and they would cover you up.
nice.
You know, like I say, justice was very expedient.
Yeah.
He's between a combination of talking with him and talking with Thomas Whaley. There's a guilt that Thomas Whaley was carrying because he said he could have prevented his death. And it turns out that he actually historically could have, because there was a inquest done and he sat on that inquest. He also attended the hanging, and his business partner, Philip Crosswade, is the one who pulled the lever. So he could have influenced it, felt bad that he didn't. So that's the connection between Thomas Whaley and Yankee Jim Robinson, and has nothing to do with there being any kind of a gallows on the property. They've yet to prove that. They tell everyone that. And I think it's a misunderstanding from something that was said back in like the 1960s time frame, because people were in the house and they were getting like a choking feeling over a particular archway. And I think at that time June Reading said, you know, oh, well, he was hung around here, not meaning exactly on the property, just in the area. And we are, you know, what, 2 blocks away from Whaley House, block and a half.
Yeah.
So it
He
is.
said red's his favorite color. We like red too.
So it is in the area, but it's interesting when you hear some of these ghost tours, because they all kind of say the same wrong information, and when you try and provide new information, they're not very pleased to have it. And it's interesting because what I was about to say before about Whaley House falling off the most haunted list, they have a control the message policy, and so you don't hear any news stories other than from outcasts like me. You don't hear any news stories about things going on at Whaley House. When I was here back early March, back before the shutdown, I did have an encounter with Thomas Whaley, but he was outside the house. He's actually spending a lot of time in the outbuildings outside the house now.
Because he probably is being driven crazy by all of the people inside there doing all their ghost crap.
He's not very happy about the misrepresentation of and the deception to try and make a story that sells tickets, because that seemed to be. And it's funny because he was a businessman and he always rented out rooms, you know, same thing with the Tanner Troupe, and you see the theater upstairs. But those were like Thomas Whaley's biggest failures.
Oh, so he's mad because he's not making any money.
Well, yeah, he's not getting a percentage. Yeah,
He's like,
that's
if I
about
was
it.
getting some money out of this, it'd be different. Then
Prob-
you could say whatever you wanted.
That's probably true. That's probably
Probably.
true. But, you know, Tanner of Tanner Troupe, and Troupe being traveling, they traveled, so there was no set theater at Whaley House, if you think about it for half a second. They traveled from place to place. So he rented out that space, got it ready for them, and then the head of the Tanner Troupe died of a heart attack. And so they disbanded, and he didn't get his money. And the same thing with the courthouse. You know, he paid the money to put in all the courthouse stuff and to put in additional windows. And then Alonzo Horton took over and said, no, we're moving everything to Newtown, which is present-day downtown San Diego. And the County Board of Supervisors skipped out on the lease. And
How old was he at this time?
I don't know. Because it was 1871 that happened. So he would have been middle-age-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was always going to the County Board of Supervisors trying to get money for his lease because they broke the lease and didn't honor the agreement. And the general store, same kind of thing. He put in the general store for a couple of months, didn't make any money because it was off the beaten path, and moved the store down into the plaza. So everything that they're representing is
Not true.
to cover the fact that when Whaley House changed caretakers in the year 2000, in a lawsuit, they lost most of the contents of the house. So they had to say the house was not represented correctly before and change it. So they also put the kitchen outside, which bothers Anna because she says, do you know how hard I had to fight to get a kitchen inside?
Yeah.
Because space was very precious.
Hi.
And so it seems like everything that they're doing in the representation rubs them the wrong way.
Interesting.
And so you don't see them on the top haunted anymore because they like to sell tickets because it's haunted, but they don't like anybody talking about anything about any real activity.
That's so sad.
So it is, because I did my best to try and do what I could to get things straightened out so he could move on. And one of the things we did is that when Whaley House was a courthouse, I asked the docents, I said, you know, if you tried a case, where would the person have gone to if they had been made guilty?
Courthouse?
And from the Whaley House courthouse. And the answer was San Quentin. So we wrote to San Quentin and we asked them if they had any original documentation from when Whaley House was a courthouse. And they had a few little pieces of paper.
Because it was like a courthouse for like 5 days.
Well, no, it was a courthouse for a while, but in California, even in a murder case, they don't keep records past 99 years. And so the records were all destroyed. And so we did manage to recover some of the records from San Quentin that came and were in the house, which was my way of trying to make things right for him, to at least acknowledge that, you know, yes, that was an important part of what was going on.
Interesting.
But yeah, very traumatic time between Old Town and New Town. And it's interesting because Alonzo Horton had come through and said that, you know, the argument was about water. And I thought, well, that's interesting because Newtown, San Diego, is the port.
Right.
And Alonzo Horton said, you gotta build a port, and that's what's gonna make the city. But Newtown didn't have any water. It had, you know, oceanfront, but it didn't have any water. Old Town did.
Yeah, the river.
And so it was the fight about water.
Yeah, because if they would have built San Diego where Newtown is originally, then they would have done that. But they didn't. They built it here because of the river. That's right. I mean, it makes sense. They, you know, so, yeah. Because that's what they did.
Yep. So that was the big battle with Thomas Whaley. It was the battle between Old Town and New Town, and he felt that everything should stay in Old Town. He was very prominent, very involved. There weren't that many people here. You know, people don't really realize, like when they took the first census, there was only 700 people in San Diego at that time.
Right.
Which is how come everybody was married to everybody else.
Yeah, they all knew each other.
All these big families, you know, were all, you know, living side by side.
That's a thing that I always think is so interesting when you talk about remember how when you were at the Cosmopolitan, you said people just kept coming in and going out, and I've heard so many stories about like different, entities, I want to say, whatever, but they're seen in like different buildings. And I think it's because they were all family, they were all related, and so their restrictions, it wasn't like it was one big house. Even though these are buildings, they would go in between. People were constantly walking in and out of each other's houses and just hanging out together because they were all related and they were all friends and they all knew each other and they all partied together like big time. And
well, my daughter moved to Missouri. That's still true in Missouri, because people bring you a pie.
Yeah.
And you come home from something and there's a pie sitting there.
Yeah.
And it freaked my daughter out the first time because she's a California girl. She goes, "What do you mean they came into your house and they put a pie in your kitchen?"
Yeah.
Very foreign.
Or people leave their doors unlocked,
yeah.
and it's normal. Like, you knock on the door before you go in. I mean, that would kind of creep me out too. I am from Detroit, so I'm a little paranoid about people coming into my house. But
it's very interesting because we've got the Native American influence. We also have the Chinese because the Chinese were here working on the railroad. The Chinese built the Hotel del Coronado. They never built a building before, but it was cheap labor, and they were already here. And
I tell people, Chinese people who are visiting all the time about that, and about how they had their own little town that was like down at the harbor, and the stories about I don't know if you've ever heard the story about the couple. There was like the guy who had told the lady in China he wanted to marry her, but he was coming to America, and then she ended up coming here as like a kind of an indentured servant. And she came to San Diego as well, and then he ended up like trying to go to the house to kidnap her, and it's this really amazing like love story, and nobody actually really knows what happened to them, what came of them. The story ended kind of with him going out to the house where she was, and then going under the house. The house was kind of built above ground, and him hiding under the house, and her knowing that he was there. And then the people of the house were coming, and she was hiding him under the house, like in the root cellar. And then
sounds like when we were teenagers.
Yeah,
hiding our boyfriend.
It was kind of like that. And he had saved up all of his money. He worked really hard and saved up money to take her. They were going to go. He had horses and everything, and they were going to go. He was going to take her to San Francisco because he knew that in San Francisco, like all this stuff was going on. So nobody really knows if they ended up like going off together. They both disappeared, or that they got killed or something, because there were people after them because they wanted her to marry some guy. So here.
We can go back to the Cosmopolitan if you want, but we do have some interesting stories about the Cosmopolitan. Some were with Chanel and some without. But I've done 2 YouTube videos from quite some time ago. They should make a movie about Thomas. Yeah, he was an interesting character.
Yeah.
And at the Cosmopolitan Hotel, I was in room 405 with a ghost hunter group, and they were interviewing me for a documentary that they were working on. And it was the very first time that a spirit person came in and actually got me up out of my chair and walking around. And the first one was a lady of the night who is known to people that work there and frequent there, lady in red. And then a gambler came in, and it's interesting videos because you get the cross between the different cultures, because the gambler is looking at the ghost hunter people with their Sony Handycam cameras, thinking that must be some sort of weapon. And they're, of course, trying to reassure him that, no, it's not a weapon. And he's thinking, well, any self-respecting man is going to be carrying a weapon because he's from like the 1870s time frame. And so the talking over each other due to the different time frames is very, very interesting. Also, too, the fireplace blew out on its own at a very interesting time because we were asking the gambler whether he knew the lady of the night. And he didn't want to answer, and so he decided to leave. And when he left, it blew out the fireplace at the same time. And Joseph, who was the manager back then, had to come in and take the grate off the fireplace and reset the box. It's electronic ignition fireplace. He had to actually reset the box, the fireplace. So physical evidence as well as the spirit person coming through. And a lot of people look at those videos and they think I'm just this really fine actress. I wish I could make a lot of money if I was. But they do tend, when they come through, they do tend to be very dramatic. Those that linger behind tend to have a very compelling story. Because most of us don't linger behind. Most of us travel quite successfully to the other side, and maybe we come back, or maybe we go, oh, hell no.
Oh, hell no. I hope I don't. I just want to go.
But anyway, look at how cool that is behind us.
It's the light, isn't it? It's that blue tree.
Yeah.
Very Midwestern.
Yeah, Juanita's saying
hospitality,
she
just
remembers the
walking in.
video.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have that in California. You walk in someone else's house, you're liable to get shot.
Yeah. What, in California?
Yeah, well, it depends on what neighborhood.
In California, they'd be like,
Don't go out to where
"Oh,
Chanel lives
hello."
out in the country.
they'd be like, oh, come on in. Do you have a gun? Can you please take it off and put it at the front? We really welcome everyone into our house. Oh, yes, we love everybody. That's what they would do here.
Yeah,
I'd be like, what are you doing in my house?
Yeah, it's like, have a nice day, motherfucker. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not so friendly.
Don't make my day.
Some of us are friendly.
Yeah, exactly.
But
we're just friends.
most of us are not from here. I am, but
I thought you were from the Midwest.
no, I was born in downtown San Diego.
Oh.
I was born in Newtown. Oh, God help me.
Ooh. Yeah, but you're not originally from here, are you? I
Yeah.
thought you were. Oh, wow.
That's where I was born.
You're a person from San Diego?
I was born.
You're special. Nobody's from San Diego.
The hospital where I was born is now in Balboa Park.
Oh, wow.
They
that's
tore the
crazy.
hospital down and extended out the park.
They tore it down after you were born there.
That's what my mother said. Yeah, they said, let's pack it in after this one. Yeah, they tore it down after I was born.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody's left.
So I was actually born in the park.
Well, that's cool.
Except it wasn't a
Aw.
park then.
Yeah,
It's a
I
park
know.
now. But,
That's cool.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually researched it to see exactly where it was. It was
Uh-huh.
on A Street downtown, but it's
Aw.
like in Balboa Park.
So cool.
Yeah, my mom lived in Claremont.
Neat. Oh,
Yep.
you know. Wow.
That's a very cool shot we've been sitting on.
All right. Shall we
Oh,
go
that
to
tree. Did you want to walk back down San Diego Avenue?
Yeah.
Okay.
All kinds of ghouls and goblins here.
Well, we got 3 people in our. Yeah, maybe that's a little better shot. Good for you, not good for me. I'm just not. I just don't like. My daughter always laughs at me. She goes, "You don't do your thing." Yeah, I don't know. I just talk. I do research. That's what I do.
You're
So-
cute.
So anyway, not as cute as Marilyn.
Jesus. It's the wig, guys.
Anyhow, I'm going to switch back over, hopefully. Okay. Oh, just in time. There you go.
Be careful, there's a root right there. I don't want you to fall.
Yeah.
Don't fall on the roots. Too bad you didn't film our little concert
let me
that we
see.
had.
I just love. Darn it. Elijah said, I just love about to say that's very teenager of them. Yes.
What?
Oh, we were talking about hiding the guy underneath the house.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Juanita. Juanita says I look good too.
Oh, you do.
So a lot of people dressed up in the Halloweeny thing. Yay! Yeah, I see you too. Live on YouTube. So. So this marker over here is the one the tourists always talk about. But what we know factually is that he was in lot 30. Unfortunately, there's no original map of the cemetery with the lot numbers. There's no original map of the cemetery. So it would be interesting if we could...
Sad.
Yeah. But we were actually across the street where that pretty tree is. And Yankee Jim was the one that explained to me that he was hung here. And so
Yankee Jim
right
was
across
hung
the
from that
street.
tree right over there.
Not that tree, no. He was hung from the back of a wagon,
Oh.
which is also another part of the story, that he was so tall that he strangled to death. But the people that were hung before him had the exact same situation.
And they don't tell anybody there's like a baby grave like out here in the middle of the street. Every day when I would come to work and drive this way down San Diego Avenue, I would drive over that marker because there's a map here on the wall that tells you who is actually buried.
Yeah.
Sorry, are we crossing?
Oh, we could. Now, why don't we go down this way? Because we already came up that way. So I was looking for the little round marker things.
Yeah. And I would always say, "Good morning, baby." Because it's like a
That's
child.
one right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So see how it says grave site right there? That's one of the ones that they found in the ground penetrating radar.
And people just
And it's-
walk over it
And
every
it's
day.
on the sidewalk outside the limits of the present day cemetery. And I guess the law is that if it's been 100 years since the last person was buried in the cemetery, they can pave over it without removing any of the bodies. So, yeah, so as we walk down the street, there's another one. Oh, are you telling them that they're sitting over a grave? That's a cheery thought, isn't it? Little dinosaur going down the street. Only Halloween.
What are you supposed to be? Tell me.
Walk like an Egyptian.
Oh!
She's got this look like this. I'm so, I thought you were telling me who you were. And I was like,
No, we were.
Me. I was like this. I don't know who that
Oh, that's funny. I don't get it.
she's probably blonde.
Ay, ay, ay. Anyway, everything's lit up really nice and pretty. This is neat. I always like coming here. It's happy. It is, because it's, everybody here is pretty much in a happy mood. Unless you have to work here every day like poor Chanel.
But I work in the best place ever. Careful.
I got more comments, but they go off the screen and then I have to Flip them back up. Assuming I thought they had. No, there's no total map of the cemetery. That would be nice, because then I could really nail that down historically. Because I'm like Mr. Prove It person, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I guess that's why they don't like me, because I can prove everything I say.
Well, and the thing is like, you know, why would you just, for no reason, like, be like, oh no, you guys are wrong, you're telling the wrong history. Like, why would you do that? Like,
Yeah.
you know, obviously, there's, you know, it bothers you. That's Nito!
Gonna do a spin for us? Mr. Spinner guy.
It's like a,
Hey! Oh, so fast. Thank you.
just sit here and watch
It's letting a little bit of fun.
What you got? It's all glowing and everything.
He's a marshmallow.
Oh, you got the marshmallow head. I see.
Show your face.
You gonna put it on? Yeah. Yay. Say hello, YouTube. Yay. Happy Halloween, you guys.
Happy Halloween!
Yeah.
Oops.
And sorry,
All over. You okay?
Oh, look at the Chihuahua puppies. Yay.
Chihuahuas. Chihuahua. Little
Harley would
piggy.
get jealous.
Little piggy.
Nice little
Oh,
pumpkin.
those are cool. Those are so neat. Oh, they sell tiles too. Mi casa e mi casa.
And Fred's always smells really good when you walk by.
Look at the fuego.
Flame. Ooh, see, that looks cool.
The fire.
Happy Halloween! People love to be on camera. In case you hadn't noticed, it's fun. It's really fun. You just stick a camera in front of them and they're your new best friend.
This is so beautiful. I love that. I just think this is so cool. Like, this is like pure artistry.
That's original, isn't it?
It's neat, yeah. That's
looks-
so beautiful. It's really cool. This is the Diamond Sauce store. So, really interesting story. You know, in the commercial for the Diamond Sauce, they all have British accents. And then they're always like, darling, we must go to the Diamond Source. We're completely out of diamonds.
Said no Maryland ever.
That's what they say in the commercial. I'm like, darling, we must go to the Diamond Source. She opens the refrigerator. We're completely out of diamonds. Ooh, this is pretty.
Yeah, so we're coming up on Whaley House. And I love these lanterns like life because they're so cool. And they burn all the time.
Gas lamps.
Gas lamps. So Whaley House is not lit up. Everything else is, but there's still lots of people hanging around back here. And last time I was here, I got directed over into this area right here, and the gate was open. It was standing wide open. It's like a little open
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. The Creole
But
restaurant.
there was nobody here.
Oh. It's
And
a good
there-
restaurant.
And there was like a group of people over here. And my daughter was filming me. And the group of people started coming from behind her. And Thomas was coming through me. And Thomas said, they're coming this way. And she got like all creeped out. And he's talking about the people from the tour.
Oh.
Ah,
Look at that guy trying to look in the window over there.
So we got cute little puppies all decorated. Hi, puppies. Yeah, puppies like Halloween too.
You guys seen any ghosts and goblins?
No.
No, they're
Dogs
here.
would screw that. I want
because
treats.
We walked in this on this lawn and in this area for like 40 years. My husband and I, and the dogs always they.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ghosts around this area.
Well, Thomas is hanging out outside now. He's not so much in the house. He tends to be over here.
Oh.
So,
For you guys? Oh.
No.
Yeah.
but
Well, I thought.
Do we
because,
work
you know,
here?
maybe you-
no, but I research here, so I know a lot about
so
it.
you know all about
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So see, I tell people, I go, it's not made up. I go, there's a lot.
No, it's not. It's not made up. You're
There's
absolutely
a lot
right.
going on in this area because we'd always walk. We live in Mission Hills. We always walk down to our house with a lot of dogs. And they always know. It's like,
Yeah. I had an experience at that big tree right there because I was standing there with someone, and pretty sure it was Violet Whaley, took me by the shoulders and turned me around and walked me back this way. And I felt like I got hit by a gunshot in the
wow.
chest. And Violet Whaley was shot in the chest. The story is she was shot in the privy. I don't think that story is necessarily true. She didn't want to tell me exactly. She said it was an assisted suicide. And then if you look up the coroner's inquest on her death, Thomas said that, he gave her the key to a lockbox 3 times that had a gun in it. She asked for the key and he gave it to her, and that's in the coroner's inquest. So that sounds like assisted to me.
see, I don't know all that background. It's just that,
Yeah.
all the times for 25 years we've been running a dog rescue. So we come down here, we have a lot of dogs, we're focusing in on them, but I know that there's activity because you can sense it in the dogs here. So that's the only reason.
Well, the Whaleys had a dog named Dolly, and every once in a while, Dolly the dog would show up.
Oh, there's one more.
She's like the oldest one in the house.
They're like little devils.
They're their real selves.
I see Chihuahua in that one because I have a dog from Chihuahua Rescue.
Oh, you do?
Mhm.
Yeah, Chihuahua Rescue.
She's a Chai Weenie.
Yeah, she is Jack Russell in Chihuahua.
Yep.
And she's just a larger Chihuahua. But little April, she's done so good. But then in 2018, she had slipped disc, so she had back surgery. And then in 2019, both of her eyes, they started having problems, and one of the lens luxated, and then we kept. She had the e-collar on for 8 weeks, and she goes, I go to an ophthalmologist, and I said, Dr. Struby, if this was your dog, I always ask him that. I go, what, I go, 8 weeks in an e-collar, that's
Yeah.
stressful. And so he said, I would just, because drops 5-6 times a day, it wasn't doing it, he said, I just removed the eye. So anyway, so that's her, but she's still kicking, you guys. It's just
Yeah.
back surgery is like a 50-50 thing.
You guys are having a
60-40,
great time.
And she survived it. Yeah, that's April. She's a good girl. And she says, I'm still kicking. She does have Cushing's though now. She was diagnosed 2 months ago with Cushing's.
Oh,
I
jeez.
do a lot of holistic, so I've had a couple
Well, good for you.
Cushing's. And, you just keep them on that medicine. It does.
Like coming out of her eye now.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, out of the other eye.
Let me see. This side?
Yeah. See that?
So we're still in the backyard of Whaley House.
In the driveway.
There's the back of the house here.
Always study.
And that's the upstairs.
Well, it's just that all of a sudden, whenever
in the add-on kitchen. And present day, these are bathrooms, but a little bit off of where they were originally is where the privy used to be. So it wasn't exactly in the same spot, but close enough. And it was a 6-seater privy because they had a lot of people in the house because of him renting out space. But they've changed the garden to nothing.
It was probably really nice.
Well, there used to be a rose garden back here.
Aww.
No, I mean present day, like in
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, you know, when you got a bunch of millennials tending to your roses.
I don't know. Anyway, this is the back end side where the courthouse is. Over here. Elijah's saying he should stop by here in his travels.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. Here we got the full moon, which is very cool. Also looks like some chemtrailing, but whatever.
Oh, yeah. I was feeling a little strange there for a second.
Oh, yeah. Who's got the emergency
I
broadcast
don't
thing
know, but
going?
it's very strange.
That's
Very weird and irritating.
that's
Maybe
not
it's-
something you can do yourself. So
It's maybe like one of their like ghost programs.
I don't know. Hi, Vicus of Soul. How are you? Okay. Yeah, for whatever reason, there's a emergency broadcast thing going off. Oh, look.
Oh my god.
That is a cheesy cutout of Thomas Whaley in the window. Just so nobody gets overly excited that that's real anything.
Is the window open?
Looks like it.
Why would they do that? Like you could just jump up there.
Yeah, I don't know. That is a cutout, and it looks like there's a skeleton on the like skeleton head.
Hello, Mr. Whaley.
But not a ghost, just a cardboard cutout. Don't get excited. Yeah, it is bizarre, Elijah.
Maybe not. I don't know. I used to bartend across the street, so maybe I put a drink in front of you at some time.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be.
You can put a drink in front of me now. That'd be all right.
Well, go on over
I was
there.
gonna say that sounded like an invitation to me,
Over
but
at the Old Time Mexican Cafe?
No, at the Old Town Saloon.
Oh. No.
sorry. Girls gotta
He looks
try.
kind of familiar to me too. We probably worked together in a restaurant at some point. I used to be a restaurant manager.
Where? What's your name again?
Chanel.
Chanel. Did you used to work at? I know your face from somewhere.
I worked at Joe's Crab. Anthony's Fish Grotto.
I see or San Diego.
And this is the front door of Whaley House.
Somewhere. You look familiar too. I can't see your whole face. So.
I don't know if he was hitting on me or not, Elijah. Girls gotta give it a try, though. Anyway, Whaley House is closed due to COVID. If not, it would be jam-packed with people going in and out like crazy. We sell a lot of tickets this time of year.
Yeah, that's weird.
And
Are they normally open on Halloween?
yes.
big. So
Oh
it's a lot
yeah,
of
it's
money.
like Grand Central Station here at Halloween under normal conditions, but they don't have a way to keep people 6 feet apart or do any of those things. So
For sure the Whaleys are like, thank God.
Elijah asked if that guy was hitting on me.
Oh, that guy?
It's like, yeah, I was hoping, but no.
Oh.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, the guy that I was talking to?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, I don't know. He looked really familiar too. I don't know.
Now he's hitting on the married lady instead, 'cause that's what they do.
Yeah. No, he's married. He was just saying that I looked familiar.
Oh,
And he looked familiar to me too.
well, he
but I
said
don't
he'd
know.
put a drink down in front of you a time or two, so
That's what he was thinking.
Yeah, so that sounds like a line to me. That sounds like a very clever line, actually.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well.
Yeah, don't let me walk off the deck and break my neck.
Oh, can't walk down that way? You gotta go turn around the other way.
Oh, I guess so, yeah. Oh, there you go. Gotcha!
He's ready. Okay.
Juanita thinks we know him from a past life.
Oh, yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know. Chanel's worked a lot of places around
Yeah.
here, so she knows a lot of people.
From a past life.
You want one?
Yeah.
Oh, they got the shades drawn, so you can't even. Looks like they got some lights on, but
There's probably, well,
The blinds
I
are
can't
drawn.
imagine that they have that window open upstairs and there's nobody in there. You know what I mean?
yeah, because that would cause. Well, I don't.
Somebody could easily like go.
Was that an emergency broadcast thing coming from that cheesy open window?
I don't think so.
Seriously?
Maybe to get their attention, people's attention to look up there.
Oh,
that
I
could be
guess.
it.
Okay. It's lost on me, I guess.
Careful!
Oop, almost lost
I
it.
saved your life.
Almost lost it. That would not be good. Historic 101.
Could put like some roses or something pretty in here too, you know?
Well, supposedly that's what was here in 1870, and everything's supposed to look like it did in 1870.
What's behind you?
I could understand
That's
that.
their story, and they're sticking to it.
Well,
Now this thing is like newish.
LNTO. Auntie Joe. Auntie Joe. See if my husband's texting me. When are you coming home?
I thought it was easiest to walk over there.
Some pretty ladies for the guys. And puppies for me. Happy Halloween!
That was nice. I like a man tips his hat at me.
Yeah.
Good.
There's a gentleman left. You getting cold?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Just a wee bit chilly.
We're walking Chanel back home. Because Chanel works back in the plaza end, which is the direction we're heading right
Still
now.
playing the piano.
For those who caught our live that lasted about 5 minutes, that's where we were. We were in Hungry's. Is this back to Hungry's or is it just Hungry's now?
Just hungry.
Just Hungry's, I guess. So we stopped in there to get a drink. And
Their fries are really good.
And the guy playing the piano used to work at Whaley House, and so that was very interesting because I was there when he had his very first ghostly experience with a doll in the.
I'm gonna go this way and then through.
Sure. Just gonna let us go. Woo. There's one of those zinger things. Come down to Earth. Not an orb, it's a little zinger thing. I don't even know what those are called.
It looks like a oh, it's a light up mask.
What are those called? Things you're
Chapters. COPCRZ.
captors game.
Chapters game.
Okay. And so you like slingshot them, right?
Yeah.
Here's how this works, guys. Put in the slingshot. Then off it goes.
That's neat.
And it comes right back down
That's
to
cool.
him.
It
Yay!
looks like a shuttlecock is what it looks like.
COPTERZGAME.com.
Alrighty, that's where you get those, guys.
Yeah.
Those are very cool to have.
It's like a shuttlecock, you know, when you play badminton.
Yep.
That's what it reminds me of.
I like anything that lights up. Is that weird? I do.
You're like a
I
cat.
do. Like any of these things that light up, I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool.
Ooh, yeah, because it's pretty. Girls like anything sparkly.
Yeah, that'd be it.
Sparkly and shiny and pretty.
Okay, so now we're gonna watch a civilian do this. We saw the expert, now we're gonna watch a civilian. Okay, here we go.
More down. Pull it.
As hard as you can. Put it down with your right hand. Pull it harder, harder, harder. Harder, release, release, release.
Yay! Good job.
Escondido.
I'm jelly. I like those. Happy Halloween. Oh, here it comes. Woo.
It looks like a fairy, kind of
It
like
does.
floating down. Hey, is there a person sitting there?
Yes, I believe so. You want to go nudge them?
No, it's really
Yeah.
creepy.
This is what Chanel's looking at. She goes, "Is that a person there?" It's like,
There's a person sitting there.
yeah, I
right?
think so.
I'm just really freaked out.
You want to wave?
I don't want to wave.
Yay! See, he's okay.
Just making sure you're still alive. You're not like dead.
Yeah, well, hey, it's Halloween. You know, could run into a zombie or two.
Yeah.
I guess.
Or a ninja.
Oh yeah. Of course, I guess if you see a ninja, then they're not a ninja.
Oh, that's probably true. That's like a. What
They're
is that
supposed to
called?
be stealth.
Yeah.
Not supposed to be able to see ninjas.
So like a ninja is like, oh, I must kill myself now. You saw me.
So it's much quieter down here.
That's so nice.
Which is
to be here.
nice.
I love
Yeah. And so we're heading back to the plaza, which was the center of Old Town.
it. Are you a good witch? How about you? Which witch is which?
And you can look at very old pictures and see that flagpole. Because it's been there forever, ever, ever.
Those fries are amazing. I went to Hungry's for the first time.
The first
Or
time.
Hungry's, excuse me.
Hungry.
The first time.
First time.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Somebody's excited.
Really good fries. I'm gonna come back for those after my diet. That's so bad. Like,
Well,
just,
hey,
totally,
I
can't
made you
have
walk.
anything for the next 3 days.
I made her walk, so. No, you're good. You walked it all off.
Yeah, oh, sure. Bye, you guys.
So over here on the right, all lit up, is the Cosmopolitan Hotel. Which the hotel rooms are open, but the restaurant is not. So it would have been nice to have been able to walk through there, but
Well, it was supposed to be open, but they probably had nobody come for dinner. So.
yeah.
Yes.
This is the house / hotel that you would have seen in Ghost Adventures. They took a lot of my research and then did very interesting things with it. So it's probably the most boring episode ever, because once they took out all the things that weren't true, because there's, did you know this, that there's Bandini descendants that live over in Coronado?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so I had to straighten out the episode because they didn't think it was a very cool thing to say that Juan Bandini killed his wife. They buried her.
That?
And buried her in the bricks underneath the restaurant. Not true, folks. She died in childbirth. Actually, in the original part of the house, which is back at the back here, the wine room area. And the baby that she gave birth to, the son, wound up taking care of Juan Bandini in his senior years. So the baby survived, but she did not.
This was the original first stagecoach stop in San Diego when the stagecoach first came to San Diego, right here on this corner.
Yep. And the gambler, when he came through, he was actually talking about being here and waiting.
And he paces to and fro. So be careful, you don't want to kill yourself. Careful,
Yeah.
you! Careful, you don't want to kill yourself. Just saying.
So embarrassing for a ghoul, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
That was really funny.
It's okay. I almost died on Whaley House steps.
Yeah.
Seems like every time I hang out with Chanel, I almost like trip and fall on something. It happened last time too.
It did.
Yeah. Anyway, room 405 is up there at the top, the very corner. And it's called 405 because it's a suite. It's a Sealy suite. And it has 2 suites together with pocket doors in between. And the Lady of the Night and the Gambler both came through when we were up there in that room. And
And if you
If you-
close the pocket door, then it's room 4 and room 5.
correct. That would be right.
Dang, I'm smart.
And I think there's now a disclaimer on the fireplace that it may or may not work.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I
Yeah.
heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Probably because they're too cheap to fix.
But it was brand new at the time that it was 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was all new. So for
That's
it to
new.
go out
This
like
whole,
that. Yeah, the painting, and they've repainted the outside of the
Yeah.
building, and
Yeah, it's actually not new because it was originally there. That
Right.
sign.
yeah, they restored it
Yeah.
back.
It was really neat. I met the girls that did it, and they used the stencil, and then they hand painted all the other stuff and everything. And all of the scoring lines, it gives it that faux brick look. The guy who did it, so the walls are actually uneven. So he had to use like major mathematics to get the scoring to look correct, for it to not like
Yeah.
run and then be like really narrow at one side. So in actuality it looks straight, but it's not straight, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's very intriguing.
that's very cool. And the reason they painted the ceiling blue was because back in the day, the Victorians would actually do that in their porches because flies don't collect in the corners. Normally, in the shade, a fly would collect. If it was painted white, they would collect in the corner. But because it's blue, I don't know how it works with their vision and that. They think it's the sky, so they continue flying. They don't collect up into the corners and things like that, like they would normally.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's the person.
Oh, the other thing we need to mention about you is that the hat, the red hat that was in 4-5, that you actually restored that hat.
Yeah.
Because it tends to get abused, the poor hat.
Yeah, somebody actually, I think, took that hat because they wanted to save it. It's some people that stay in that room all the time. They ended up taking it because they were so mad that people that I had restored it. They actually paid me to restore it. And I think it was made by Heidi originally.
Oh, okay.
And then Joseph purchased it, and it was such a wreck after like a year that I restored it. And the people who were staying in that room constantly paid me to restore it, and then they took it with them. And every time they come back and they stay at the hotel, which is very often, they bring it back with them and they leave it in the room.
That was Joseph's tribute to the lady in red.
Yeah.
So he knew about her and gave her that hat when the hotel first reopened.
Yeah, he had a couple of weird experiences too in that room. Like he would hear people walking up and down the stairs on the other side, and there was nobody there. He said, and it sounded like a woman's footsteps, somebody in heels.
I had someone call me who was staying in the room at the time that they got a hold of me online. And he sent me footage from his phone. He was with his wife and his daughter, and he was the only one awake, and he was shooting footage on his phone and texting me back and forth. And he was hearing footfalls. And you could hear it on his phone footage at the time he was talking to me about it.
Wow.
Yeah. And of course, when the gambler came through, that's the first thing he did was start stomping his feet. And it's like, who does that? But he does.
Yeah.
So I know him as the gambler because he said that he was here, at the stage stop, and he was gambling, and he said something he shouldn't have and got shot. I didn't even know what it was he said that got him shot. Just must have said something.
Wow.
So I know him as the gambler, but a lot of people report a cowboy. And he is dressed like a cowboy. It's just, I know that extra
I wonder if
element.
that's the person who pulled the chair out that day.
Yeah, that's happened too. I also got a message from someone who was eating in the restaurant, and he had looked up my website and found my information. He contacted me, and he was sitting here eating, and he said, "Can you explain this to me? Because they came and they brought me my check, and it's in a little tray, and the tray was moving across the table."
I wonder if that was the same table.
Don't know.
That's really interesting. Well, Doug and I had eaten dinner the night before at that table, and I didn't even think of that until the whole thing happened the next morning. And then Joseph's the one that said, "That's the table that you sat at with Doug." And I was like, when he said that to me, I almost passed out right on the spot. I'm like, oh my God, you're right. I'm like, geez, I didn't even think of that. That was really crazy.
Yeah, Joseph was reporting pictures coming off the wall, and
yeah, I think Joseph was
all kinds of
a little in tune with things.
Oh, I think we've hit another ghost tour.
That's that guy.
Oh, is that the
Yeah, Michael. The guy that I told you about.
Michael Brown guy? Oh, okay. Well, do we want to follow him and see? I don't know if he's going in, but if he is, then I'm going to go too.
It sounded like he had keys in his hand, like he was doing
Yeah, well, okay. Maybe we will get our chance to go in. I don't know. You think he'd yell at us? Yeah, he said he's a jerk, so.
He would remember me from this afternoon. too.
No. Okay.
Because I told you, he stood there and like, look, and I said, can I help you with something? And he just ignored me. Like I said, he's my Illuminati. He's like, what is it called? A creepy porn lawyer.
Yeah.
Creepy. Little stragglers right there.
You're gonna be in there in just a minute.
Okay, so I guess he's just doing the restaurant area then. He's just going to be in there.
Creepy porn lawyer.
Only 3 people watching, so.
Mind if I say goodnight? Do you want me to drive you over to your car?
No, it's probably easier for me to walk than for you to go all the way around and drive. So, no, I'm good. It's safe here,
All
right?
right. Yeah.
Can
Have
you
a
give
good
me a hug?
night. Have a good night, everybody.
Let me get you a shot. Say thank you, Chanel.
Good night.
Chanel's a pumpkin. She has to go home and see her hubby.
I have to drive like 40 minutes to my house.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Chanel. Okay, so anyway, this is the other side of the Cosmopolitan Hotel. We still got people in costumes walking around. But it's definitely quieter over here, which is kind of nice. I kind of like the quiet. And this is Johnson House here, where Chanel works. These are shops that have all been restored back, mostly to their original locations, as close as anybody could estimate. Back in the 60s, none of this stuff was here. It was just kind of run down and very vacant looking. This restaurant I've eaten in many times and it remains closed. It's very large and serve Mexican food. So you can sense kind of the activity of former people eating here on the patio. And it's a shame because they could actually use that space for outside dining, because that's what everybody's doing right now. If you're dining out, you're mostly outside. But everything's open. It's just restricted access and mask wearing and all that kind of thing. He's a little firefighter. You gonna put out fires with the water? Yeah? Happy Halloween! Oh, he's so cute. Yeah, it really is beautiful out tonight, and the temperature is really nice too. It's not real cold. It's probably about 67, 68, something like that outside. So these are Day of the Dead kind of outfits, and they definitely do that here. It's very much in the Mexican tradition. So we still have those up, which are intended to be very respectful of our ancestors. So we have more shops and more people dining out. And you can probably hear the music playing too. So they do have heat warmers, but they're not on because you really don't need it. Is everybody out having a good time? Chocolate and espresso. Very good things. There's more little shop things. Really pretty. Princess Leia.
My journal says I'm gonna try to up my parents. You want to be
There's a little stage over here for people to perform, but not much live performance going on right now. Hopefully it comes back soon. So we're leaving Fiesta de Reyes. Back to the fountain. And so we're just on the other side of the plaza here. This is the Barra Barra restaurant. Sadly, it's empty pretty much. Get a nice big skull thing up here. I did try to do some Halloween kind of things. That's more of a Day of the Dead type of situation. This is the Robinson Rose house. And also the information center. So I'm gonna check you guys for comments. Hi, Savannah. Yes, beautiful place, Juanita. So the freeway and the train and modern life is all over this direction. Looks like we got another ghost tour going on.
Big, rough, highway guy here, classic Western chair. That's not the original building. The original building was torn down. How they rebuilt it though, they had photographs of it, and they actually dug into the ground and found the foundations of the original building. They knew what the layout of the roof would be.
Another ghost tour. And this is the McCoy house. Interestingly enough, the light is malfunctioning right outside. But McCoy was the sheriff. Do you think California will turn red? Boy, I hate to get into political things. Because it doesn't seem to matter how you answer, half the people are going to be upset. But it sure would be nice to get out from under some of the restrictions that we're currently in. Anyway, this is the McCoy house. And Sheriff McCoy was the person that Thomas Whaley was complaining to all the time when he got what he considered to be cheated out of the lease on the courthouse. And he kept trying to get Sheriff McCoy to do something about it. So a lot of angry words between Thomas Whaley and Sheriff McCoy, that's for sure. And here you've got present day civilization. So that's the train station there, and the buses over there. So even though Old Town is the historic district, it's still very much a part of the modern day life as well. I kind of like this better, being in the quiet. I've always felt very safe in Old Town. I can't say that everywhere, but it just feels very much at home to me. So there's only 2 people left. If you guys have any questions before I close off the live stream. It's been a very interesting night for me personally. So you just kind of got taken on my adventure for the evening, which is usually how these things work out. Oh, you're welcome, Juanita. Yeah, I don't know who's messing with the light. It's very interesting though, isn't it? Sometimes they're just loose and there's a logical explanation. Boy, that's a big antenna. Well, that's probably how you're getting your signal for me to do the live stream. Hopefully I can get back out because I'm going all the way around the other side here. This tends to happen to me. I wind up in places where I'm not supposed to be. So if you remember seeing that police car a minute ago, I'm now on the inside of the fence, which is not what I intended to do, but it's okay. I can get out right here. This bunny hopping over that way. The flashing light for whatever reason. Over here. I should go this way. Turned around over here. Okay, so we're heading back towards the plaza area. It's right in the center of the plaza. There's still a few people around in costume. Which is this way come. Happy Halloween.
I know what's trusting me now.
Thank you guys so much.
Oops. Over there in the distance is the Cosmopolitan again. And there's the flagpole. Looks like we got another ghost tour group.
One other full-bodied apparition that's seen here is that of the Santos Dyer. The Dyer, after the Santos video photos, were using it for very long time. Some people have seen the spirit walking over the other planet. Now, here's the interesting thing about the Casa de Estudio. Casa de Estudio spirits don't really enjoy hanging out with us. They don't enjoy saying our name out loud. They don't enjoy making eye contact with us. They don't enjoy talking to us. They don't enjoy touching us. They really seem to be preoccupied with whatever it is they're doing. Very different from the next place we're going to, the Wailing House Museum, where the spirits are notorious for making themselves known and interacting with guests. Before we head over there, had a guest mention the Cosmopolitan Hotel just across the way. I know that the biggest haunted hotel in San Diego is the Hotel del Coronado. That one is another fantastic room, hotel to stay in. I hear that room number 9 is the haunted room. It's haunted by one of the daughters of Bandy, the man who built that house, which was then converted into a hotel. Can't take you guys over there.
It's okay to take photographs. We
Another
do
ghost
also
tour that is
video
specifically
tape.
Oh, okay.
yeah. If you're really into ghost hunting in terms of using equipment like EMF meters to try and locate ghosts, that is an original building. Highly recommend checking it
Yeah,
out.
it's too bad that they don't give out accurate information. 4-5 would be the most activity. And the room that they call Isadora Bandini's room is actually room number 11. But they were not able to document that she actually stayed in the hotel. Obviously, she was there when it was Bandini House. And the house changed hands, was sold to Albert Seeley, and turned into a hotel with a whole lot of addition from being just a regular house. So there's legend story, unsubstantiated, that she haunts room 11. 11 also has some activity that comes from the kitchen that is very, very normal, for, old construction and that kind of thing. Very explainable. You also pick up vibration from the train going by as well. And so when people have rattling doors and things like that, sometimes it's just a vibration coming from the train. So I think, other than the tours, I think it's pretty much died down here. So does anybody have any questions or anything, or are you just kind of wandering around aimlessly with me? I guess I'm not talking very much right now. I think you've heard most of the stories, but the activity in the plaza I find really fascinating, because you can get glimpses of horses coming in, on horseback, emergency kind of situations, and it was indeed the center of town. So anything that was happening that was high drama kind of situation tended to spill into the town, like stealing of horses, and it was Crosswade who got shot in the crotch, and that was here in the plaza. And he didn't die, but it did alter his thinking, and poor Yankee Jim was kind of subjected to that. Oh, you're welcome, Juanita. I guess you're still with me. I got 3 people who are still hanging out. But it is kind of quiet. But we did manage to capture some really cute kids in costume and some dogs. And I don't know that we caught any particular paranormal activity. But like I say, I did have interesting connection immediately with Michael Jackson. And the person who was singing it is someone that used to work at Whaley House that I knew. So that was a very odd set of circumstances. But very nice to meet back up with him again. And while we were off, Chanel was singing at the piano. His name is Victor, and I did capture him a little bit on video. And so they were singing songs together and having a good time. So it's kind of good to have a laugh. Things have been really very serious for everybody, regardless of what your life circumstances are. The outside world's pretty serious. So for me, this was just like a nice way to get away from everyday life, and more than happy to share it with you as well. So I think I'm going to head back to the car, which would not be a very interesting thing to videotape. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing next, Juanita. It's kind of up in the air right now, so we'll see. Obviously, if he, comes to me and wants to have information put out, I certainly will. He made his presence known tonight for sure, and so he's never that far away. But he doesn't usually want to put out public information, so those are kind of few and far between. But he makes that decision. That's not up to me. The only decision that's up to me is whether to help him and cooperate, which I always say yes. So anyway, we will see what happens. So thanks so much, everybody, for hanging out with me. And I will hopefully see you again soon. Take care. Good night. And happy Halloween.